Okay, so I am about to go to bed, and when I wake up, Varka's version 2 information should be out, in which this video may age quite horribly, but I'm pulling my full meat out on the table. If you have been keeping up with pre-release TC in the past week, you would know by now that Varka's quite an underwhelming character, and I simply just don't believe that's going to be the case for the rest of his beta. And before I explain why, if at any point during the video you're entertained or informed, make sure to drop a like and even consider subscribing, as I talk on various topics regarding Genshin's meta, and I'll try to keep you updated. Shout out to my lovely channel members, I really appreciate your support, it means the world to me. And also, so right now Columbina and Anefa are finally here, so if you'd like to cut down on the costs while going for them, then I would like to announce the sponsor for today's video, LD Shop. LD Shop is a very safe and reliable top-up site that allows you to get Primo Gems at a great deal starting from 15% off, while keeping your data safe. As for transactions, you only need to type in your UID and region, as you can see me doing here. Just needed to quickly refresh my welkin, and as you can see, it's here. And make sure to use my link, as that way you'll receive an extra 15% off coupon, as well as a 5% off coupon which can save you up to $50. LD Shop goes through official channels as well, meaning that you won't lose any of the in-game benefits like first-time top-up bonuses, so no need to worry. And additionally, because LD Shop is so great, users who spend over $80 will receive a VIP membership which rewards you with free welcome moons. So head over to ldshop.gg using my link in the description below. What are you waiting for? Thanks to LD Shop for sponsoring this video, now back to it. Now Varka's kit is brain-deadishly brain-dead, which does fit his character, but essentially his gimmick is that when you use his skill, he will enter a special stance, and in this stance he will be dual-wielding claymores. One will deal onoma damage and those will be his weaker hits, and then the other claymore will deal infused damage of your team's elements. Varka has a special skill slash charge attack, and this is on a cooldown that can be further reduced via doing normal attacks, and his Hexray passive makes his normal attacks reduce his cooldown by double the rate. Oh, and he can also just only use 2 of these special charge attack slash elemental skills. And just to make this distinction now, Varka has a special elemental skill that can only be cast in his skill state, and you can only do 2 of these special skills per skill state. But Varka also has a charge attack, and when you do this charge attack, it will consume one of the 2 skill uses you can do. But the thing with Varka's current kit is that the charge attack just deals more damage, so there seems to be no reason to ever use his special skill at all, to our knowledge. So, regarding Varka's passives, I already went over his Hexray one. It just reduces his skill cooldown faster, and then his 2 Ascension passives are just generic damage increases, with his Ascension one facilitating 2 Onimo, 2 same type PHEC teams, and his second passive just wanting an off-field swirl unit, which I don't even think is needed. Varka should be able to cap this by himself. And then we have Varka's burst, but as Nordcry DPS have taught us, elemental bursts or government psyops and should never be trusted. But no, his burst is just 1 weak slash and 1 strong slash, and the strong slash can be infused with PHEC damage, so Chaska's burst. But now with this kit covered, we can get into me ranting a bit, but before that I do just want to say that usually changes don't really happen in V2, or at least big changes don't happen in V2. So Varka is to get massively buffed, that is more likely to happen in V3, and if nothing changes by V3, that's when we can full-blown panic. But as it stands now, Varka with his premium team of Bennett, Durin, and Venti, all of which are great characters, is barely crossing 90k DPS from my calcs. It's so bad that using him with the Divine Wheelchair is technically a better use of Varka. I was so distraught by these numbers that I held off posting my calculations for him, because I thought we were just missing something and we were gonna find out what we were missing. But no, apparently his V1 numbers are just this bad, to the point where some leakers are reporting getting better clears with Venti DPS on the new Stygian boss. And damage wise, this means Varka's on the level of the Fontaine DPSs. This is like the same damage as Malvika-less, Durin-less Chevreuse Overload. It's like the same damage of Arlecchino Vape with Yolana and Kazuha. It's like Nuvola Hypercarry tier. Skirk without Escoffier has more theoretical damage output. Flins and Nefer without their dedicated supports are stronger than Varka. His damage output would have been fine like 2 years ago, but with the power scaling we've had from Malvika till now, I just need to stress how much Varka's numbers are an outlier, and this just doesn't track with how Genshin has been releasing limited units since Natlin, and it's why I'm very certain he'll get massively buffed by the end of this beta. And to anyone coping about Varka being a standard character, I'm sorry, but that just isn't happening. Genshin has been hyping this character up for 6 years. He has a completely unique face model that they went and readjusted even. He's getting a custom weapon skin, and he's one of the most important characters in Nordkai's story, whilst being the head of the Knights of Favonius. You know, the Knights of Favonius that has limited characters in its ranks. Regardless, I'm just saying that there's literally no chance Varka is going to be a standard character. And looking at Varka from a standard lens, and being the second character to release with the Hexorite passive, I'm sorry, but they're not making you pull for Durin and a buffed Venti to make Varka not even the best Durin user. Razor, Clorind, Klee, Arlecchino, Varessa even. Why would they make these characters work better with Durin instead of the first limited Hexorite DPS that somehow magically perfectly synergizes with Durin and Venti? From a financial POV, anyone would just skip Varka in that case, as they could get better damage with a cheaper team and not have to pull a limited 5-star. And no, please don't get started on this conspiracy about Genshin wanting to make mail sales lower. For almost an entire year, Nuvolet dominated the Abyss. Durin is one of the best supports in the game. Flint is one of the strongest DPSs in the game. And right after Mizuki's release, they released Aoife, who's just better than her. So no, this isn't about that. There most likely is just some kind of bug or issue in Varka's kit or something we're missing. And what makes me believe that is, for one, as I said before, he has a special elemental skill and special charge attack, both of which are gated by 2 uses, and the charge attack just does more damage. So why does this special skill exist? It would be complete redundancy to have both of them, unless there are more plans for it that Genshin didn't get to finish in version 1 of the beta. And speaking of his special charge attack, even then, it doesn't even make up a majority of his damage, despite arguably being the center of his kit. Varka's normal attacks actually take up a greater damage share than his special charge attack, and once again, that doesn't make sense. Varka's Hexorite passive and pretty much all of his constellations besides the C4 are all centered around his special charge attack, or special elemental skill. Why would that be the case if his normal attacks are supposed to be the main force of damage in his teams? If we take a look at another character like Flynn, for example, imagine if everything about his kit stayed the same, but his 2 mini bursts only made up 30% of his overall damage, and his normal attacks were actually doing the majority. That is just stupid game design. So I really just think there's some scaling in his special charge attacks and skills that is just missing. Otherwise, why center so much of his kit identity around it? And one last thing I've heard about Varka's numbers being so low, or his team DPS being so low, is that people are saying, oh, it's fine, Nicole is going to save him. So Varka's premium team is comprised of Bennett, Venti, and Durin, in which Varka needs another Animo unit and 2 of the same type element, that is PHEC. Nicole has a Pyrovision, which means that the only 2 characters she can replace are either Durin or Bennett. First of all, I'm honestly skeptical of Nicole being a support in the first place. I think she might actually be a DPS instead. But second, I don't think you guys heard me correctly. She has to replace Durin or Bennett. If she's here to replace Durin, then why did they even release him in the first place? And do you guys, like, know what it means to replace Bennett? Like, this isn't like an Aino situation where Aino was kind of just okay because there's no other real option. Bennett is the sustain on this team with very good healing, and he's also providing Varka with like over 1000 attack and a 15% pyro damage bonus. In order to match this, Nicole would have to be the best character in the game, and that isn't even me exaggerating or anything. Varka is at 90k DPS right now. In order to make Varka competitive with the Nordkai DPS without Columbina, Nicole would have to be a 30k DPS increase, while also being a sustain, since Varka doesn't really have that many iframes or interruption resistance in his base kit. And that's just to reach the Nordkai DPS's level without Columbina. She would need another 30k jump to match them with Columbina. I don't know who you guys think Nicole is, but there's just no shot she's going to be that much better than Bennett, if at all, because once again I'm doubting her being a support. And if she is a 60k increase over Bennett, then she's just the best character in the game. So no, I'm sorry, I'm just not buying the fact that Nicole is going to save Varka from his current state. He needs a buff in my opinion. I can also already smell the person that's saying that, wait, Varka being released in this state is good, because that means no power creep. And I'm going to whisper into your ears softly as I say this, but Varka being bad isn't going to stop power creep. Varka's numbers are so low that it's better to put him in a team where he's just being wheelchaired. Mizuki is better than Varka right now, numbers wise, since she can use that wheelchair core better. I'm sorry, but riding off the back of Columbina, who just made Nefer and Flint have 150k DPS, and you can be playing with your eyes closed, I think it's actually unhealthier if Varka releases in this state, because then there just is really zero reason to use him. He'll be fine for Abyss, but even into neutral bosses on Fearless, I just don't see him clearing them comfortably. I don't see him clearing Dara at C0R1 against neutral bosses either. If Genshin wanted to slow down and balance power creep, it shouldn't come off the back of Columbina, who just boosted 3 characters to like tier 0 status. And I'm not saying Varka should be stronger than the Nordcry DPS, but at the very least he should be competitive. After Malvika's release we had Skirk and Varessa, and while they weren't as strong as her, they were still pretty competitive with her, with all of them having different strengths and weaknesses. But there isn't anything in Varka's kit that can overcome a 60k theoretical difference. He just doesn't even do enough damage to where it's worth weighing his differences against the Nordcry DPSs. It would be like trying to compare Yanfei to Skirk. Any upsides Yanfei may have don't matter because Skirk just does so much more damage that we don't have to entertain the conversation. And like, Varka doesn't even really have that many upsides. His AoE isn't that great, he can be staggered very easily. His teams don't even run shielders to help prevent this. And on top of the already pretty mediocre damage from his premium team, you take pretty big hits trying to switch any of his teammates out, where Nefer has like 56 different flex slots. So no, I'm not entertaining this Varka being healthy for the game because he's less power creep. He's not even in competition with any DPS release in the past year. So in my opinion, I think his current state is unacceptable, and I really doubt that he leaves this beta this bad. He is for sure getting buffed. We're going to see in a few hours. I've yapped enough. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on Varka, as I would love to hear and I respond to almost every single comment. Channel members, thank you so much for your continued support. It means the world to me. Hugs and kisses to you all. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you everyone else for watching, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace.